Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to our English news coming to you from Canal, Algérie. To the headlines. The President of the Republic exchanges best wishes with his Turkish counterpart Tayyip Recep Erdogan on the occasion of Eid al-Adha feast. The Eid al-Adha feast is celebrated across the national territory in a festive atmosphere marked with piety and solidarity. And the traditions of celebrating this religious event differ from one region to another, a case in point the locality of Azazga in Tizi Ouzou province. Welcome back. First in our news, Algerians celebrated the first day of Eid al-Adha feast in a distinguished atmosphere marked with feelings of joy and brotherhood and remarkable scenes of solidarity and synergy. And on this occasion, the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, congratulated the Algerian people, praising the efforts of all the shift workers at the service of citizens and the units of our army at the borders and the various members of the National Gendarmerie, Police, Civil Defense and Customs. The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, also exchanged on Wednesday greetings and wishes with his Turkish counterpart, Tayyip Recep Erdogan, on this great religious feast, wishing him and the Turkish brotherly people more prosperity and progress. The two presidents also reviewed the good relations binding the two countries and the ways to enhance them for the benefit of the two brotherly peoples. The Eid al-Adha prayer was accomplished at the Grand Mosque of Algiers in an atmosphere full of piety and serenity. Prime Minister Ayman bin Abdulrahman, alongside other members of the government, were present to carry out this highly important religious ritual. Melissa Kibash with more details.
The Muslim nation celebrated Eid al-Adha, a spiritual feast eagerly awaited across the world, with prayers and supplications. As it was the case in Algeria, where Prime Minister Ayman bin Abdulrahman accomplished the prayer of Eid al-Adha, accompanied by the advisor of the President of the Republic, members of the government, Arab and Muslim representatives of the diplomatic corps accredited to Algeria, and a number of faithfuls.
لمن حمده ربنا ولك الحمد الله أكبر الله أكبر السلام عليكم.
In his sermon, the Imam or preacher recalled that the day of Al-Eid is an event where faithfuls must display solidarity, preserve the family ties, and show mercy to those in need, adding that this year's feast coincides with the National Day celebrations in youth, calling on our youth to be the worthy heirs of our valiant martyrs and war veterans.
إن عيد الأضحى البهيج لهذا العام يأتي سابقا ومبشرا بين يديه بمناسبة عظيمة أخرى ويوم من أيام الله المباركة لا تقل أهمية في رمزيتها عن أعيادنا الدينية، ألا وهو عيد الاستقلال والشباب. إن على شبابنا اليوم أن يخوضوا معركة العلم لتنمية وطنهم.
After the end of the prayer, the Prime Minister was greeted by members of the government, representatives of diplomatic corps accredited to Algeria, and the faithfuls present at the Grand Mosque of Algiers.
And in a festive ambience, the Algerians started this first day of Eid al-Adha synergy and solidarity were so visible among citizens, denoting the strong social fabric among Algerians. More details with Najah Tayyar.
From the early hours of Al-Eid, here in Nama, and like all the other provinces of the country, the citizens headed to the mosque to attend the two sermons of the Eid, during which the imams reminded the faithfuls to behave accordingly with the Islamic values of tolerance and synergy while celebrating this religious event. On this occasion, I wish happy Eid to all the Muslim nations and the Algerian nation to remain happy, safe and sound.
بخير وعلى خير نتمنى لكل الأمة الجزائرية عيد مبارك سعيد.
Same atmosphere prevailed in Constantine, where the opportunity to also exchange congratulations of the Eid and visit relatives. Happy Eid to all Algerians here and abroad and all the Muslims. I wish this Eid to return and find us safe and in good health. We pray in this sacred day that all the baccalaureate candidates pass their exam. As in the south of the country, in Tamanrasset, Élysée or Béchar, the Algerians welcomed Eid al-Adha in an atmosphere full of joy, reflecting the supreme values of Islam and social coherence. Happy Eid to all. We wish Algerians and all Muslims to have a happy Eid every year, and may God be with Palestine and accept our good deeds. We hope this Eid to be an opportunity to meet relatives and forgiveness among people. May God be pleased with us and all the Muslim nation. After Eid al-Adha prayer, the faithfuls go back home for the sacrifice-awaited moment, as here in Oran and Tiaret, where joy is at its highest levels. Each year we come here to perform the sheep sacrifice and enjoy sharing meat with the neighbors. And in the capital, the streets are also lively with the sacrifice ritual and the ensuing ambience of joy and happiness that unite furthermore citizens.
وتعيدوا بصحة لهنا كم من الشعب تاع الجزائر وتحيا الجزائر. إن شاء الله الشعب اللي يكون عنده شحنة مع أخوه ولا إن شاء الله يتصالح بمناسبة هذا العيد. كي نكملوا إن شاء الله كل واحد يلقي باب دارو باسكو علاه كاين اللي يرمي الهيدورة برا كل واحد كيفاش هو يدير وحنا ماذا بينا حنايا نسهلوا الأمور للخدامين تاعنا والآخر وش حنقول لكم تاني كاع الناس صحة عيدكم وتحية الجزائر.
صحايتكم كاع الناس باب الواد و58 ولايه ونحيوا خوتنا اللي راهم في الغربه نقول لكم صحايتكم وان شاء الله ينعاد عليكم بالصحه والهنا ان شاء الله خوتي.
Celebrating the Eid feast differ from one region to another, denoting the diversity of cultural and social diversity, which remains, however, deeply attached to the lofty values of our region. Religion. Azazga locality in Tizi Ouzou province is a case in a point. Melissa Kibesh once again.
On the occasion of Eid al-Adha, the Hamish family opened its doors and welcomed us to their home, where they shared their joy and moments of celebrating this religious event. Here in Azazga, precisely in the village of Zikri, the inhabitants gather after the Eid prayer to exchange greetings and best wishes before proceeding to the sacrifice ritual. We wake up at dawn for the prayer of Al-Fajr, then we go to the cemetery and visit the grave of our loved ones. After this, some of us go home while others visit the village to wish a happy Eid to neighbors before men proceed to sacrifice the sheep.
Before sacrificing the sheep, my wife put henna on its head and a bit of salt in its mouth, while I prepare the necessary equipments.
At the end of the rituals, the village elders gather to recite the Quran and religious chants.
On this day of Eid, I wish a good recovery to all ill people. I wish that this Eid will bring peace and hope to our country.
I wish a blessed Eid to all Muslims.
I hope this Eid will bring joy to our country. Happy Eid to all Algerians.
Joy, serenity, and generosity prevailed on this village in this special day, reflecting the lofty values of Islam and strong social fabric of our country.
The Algerians living abroad also celebrated Eid al-Adha feast. Many of them performed the Eid al-Adha prayer at the Grand Mosque of Paris on Wednesday morning alongside worshippers of other nationalities. They also extended their wishes of peace and prosperity to the Algerian people in particular and the whole Arab world in general. Al-Eid feast is 10th day of worship and family obligations, yet a special shift system has been worked out for merchants to ensure the basic needs of citizens during this off-day decreed by the Algerian authorities. Najah Tiyar has the details.
Like every year, the morning of Al-Eid is devoted to prayers and supplications. Before the sacrifice moment, it is also time for the last-minute purchases. In Batna, the merchant's shift system has been largely respected and thus allowed citizens to buy all the products they needed. Happy Eid to all Muslims. As for the bakery, it is opened and we work 24 hours around the clock all year. Not only the 3 days of Al-Eid, bread is available at any hour of this day.
Eid Mubarak to all Algerians and Muslims. Well, all food products are available at our level and the prices have not increased.
To ensure the follow-up of this shift program, several control agents were mobilized to all the country's provinces.
Out of 780 merchants concerned, 706 have complied with the shift system, means more than 98% of the merchants have therefore generally respected the planned working system.
In Algiers, the Trade Minister Tayyip Zitouni carried out an inspection visit to ensure the respect of these measures in the market during Eid al-Adha. We have mobilized about 50,000 merchants on the national territory. Here in Bab el-Wad, about 500 bakeries respected the shift system program. The ministry control agents are in charge of verifying the shops the whole day to make sure the whole products necessary are available for the citizens. More than 52,000 merchants and a number of basic food products manufacturing units are mobilized throughout the national territory to ensure different services during these days of this crucial religious event.
The Palestinians spent the first day of Eid al-Adha feast against a backdrop of escalation and violence. The prayer held at Al-Aqsa Mosque was marked by a series of arrests by the Zionist occupying forces, denying them access to this holy mosque to perform their worship and rituals. Once again, happy Eid and good night.